www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman.
The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more info.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local environment. This is where we address the topics that matter. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. Welcome to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are 14 days and some hours away from Election Day. And I know because in studio with me I have Mr. Wesley Howell. He is the Supervisor of Elections, and Miss Sheena Glasgow. And, you know, Wes knows the exact days, hours, and sometimes minutes as we're counting down, and sometimes seconds, yes. So 14 days, which I can say I'm most grateful. I can't wait for those 14 days to pass. I feel like a lot of us are ready for this to happen. And in saying that, we're going to be talking about the general elections, voting day, referendum key messages, what to look out for the polls, postal and mobile voting deadlines, and all sorts of other good stuff associated. So good morning to my guests. How are you doing today?
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
No
yes,
problem.
it's getting closer.
Yes.
Happy Tuesday.
Yes.
I will repeat on air for Radio Cayman loyal listeners. I'm here. That does not indicate that my voice is also awake. So we'll work through it.
I feel that apparently it's my face that's not always awake either. So don't worry about it. I understand. I completely understand. So I think we had you on about 3 weeks ago, almost a month ago, maybe. I feel
Listen,
time is gone.
It's a bit of a blur.
Time has gone.
From the calendar.
Yes. Well, it was definitely before April 1st. I know that much because there was still that kind of final voters list that was going to come out,
okay,
right? The updated one. So I guess, so let's say from mid-March to now-ish, what can you update us on?
So we are 14 days and 23 hours away. 27 minutes and 18 seconds away from the polls opening. So they open at 7 on April 30th. So that's not very far away. But in some respects, the polls have been open now since March 10th when we've been dealing with postal ballots. So as of the count yesterday, some 729 postal ballots have been issued across all 19 electoral districts. So people are voting. West Bay South, which is the largest electoral district, is leading in the number of postal ballots issued, so 91 in that electoral district alone. So a lot of people traveling are working on election day, traveling off island, that is. And this weekend, Thursday is the deadline for applying for postal ballots and applying for mobile voting. And then we do our last issues this weekend, and next week, Tuesday, we start mobile voting in all districts, so that's Tuesday through Friday. And we do have some persons who are voters in the BRAC, but are in hospital in Grand Cayman or are working for the government or actually working on election day. And those persons will be able to vote on Saturday. We'll bring the teams over from the BRAC with all their ballot boxes and everything else to have them vote here in Grand Cayman. And that's only for the people that qualify for mobile voting. And they also have to apply for it. So that's our week, and then we go through that weekend and Easter. So that's Easter, the Tuesday after Easter Monday, and then we go through that next weekend. The following week, Wednesday, is General Election Day. So
it's coming fast.
in terms of the teams traveling and mobile voting, so remember, Little Cayman residents, we're coming over to you on Thursday the 24th, and it's going to be at the PWD building. So take your ID with you. We will provide the pencils. we will provide the instructions. All you need to do is show up.
Apply first. Apply first.
Thank you.
Yes.
Apply and show up on the 24th, just for you.
So the only requirements that they need to have after applying is to have photo ID.
Well, let me backtrack a little bit. They actually need to be a registered voter.
Well, yeah. You won't get through the application process unless you are, I'm assuming.
Let's clarify that baseline. But yeah, they can go ahead and apply, and the registering officer, Miss Ellen, will be dealing with those applications, and she's fantastic with dealing with our voters on Cayman Brac and Little Cayman. So a shout out to Miss Ellen this morning. And she'll deal with reviewing and approving mobile votes for residents in Little Cayman. And the Cayman Brac West team, Western Little Cayman, will travel over to Little Cayman for the day on the 24th of April, next Thursday.
And that's just for mobile voting.
That's
just for mobile voting for the residents on Little Cayman.
Okay. And just as a reminder, people who opt to do mobile voting, it's because they're not going to be on island?
So mobile voting is for individuals who will have some difficulty coming out to the polls. So they have a disability, they're in the hospital, they're in a retirement home, they have some other issues in relation to health, or being older and not able to stand in line for long periods and those sorts of things.
Mobility,
yeah.
We also have mobile voting available for individuals whose job it is to be on at work on election day. So people who are on air,
Yes.
us,
Yes.
who are going to be working in polling stations and so on.
all our volunteers.
All our volunteers, police officers, medical staff, those types of individuals are all approved for mobile, but they have so we sort of have two types of mobile. One we call a central station, which is where we go to vote. So we actually go to a location that looks like a regular polling station. It's open from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m.
Okay.
And we go in and we cast our ballots. It's all set up with agents and observers and all that stuff going on.
That's for us people who
are
have no mobility
the
issues.
issues.
It's election day is just a timing issue.
Yeah.
So
And then for the folks who require the home visits or the location visits, then we actually have a bus with all the people on it: returning officer, presiding officer, poll clerks, police officer, agents, and we literally go from house to house, and we allow people to vote in the comfort of their homes in some cases, hospital rooms in others, and if they're in a prison,
forward team,
yeah,
logistics team that gets ahead of the bus and tries to sort things out. Not tries to. Whose goal is to sort things out and get things ready for the team when they appear.
To make it seamless and somewhat quick.
So there's a little portable polling booth with a cardboard shield so that people can sit in their bed and mark their ballot in private.
So they can get the whole feel of it.
Yeah. If they're doing it from their living room, it has stands and they can stand up and do it, or they can sit and do it. So it's very unique. There's not very many countries in the world that do that. So it's a very unique thing that we do here. So all the persons who've applied for mobile voting, you should hear back from our office this week. They've been focusing on the postal ballots because those are a little bit more time sensitive, but the other mobile voting application folks should get their responses directing them to where they're approved to vote and whatnot. So
like we have a situation, for example, where we're covering election day. We always do, right? And we're going to have one of our news editors in the BRAC for election day, and they had the question too: can I just vote early? How do I do this? And I think I was saying, this is right after I had you on as well last month. So I think I was saying in between postal and mobile, but it was mobile voting that person has to do.
Absolutely mobile. Yeah.
Okay. And he has to have applied by
Thursday.
This Thursday. So we only got 2 days.
Make it really easy. It's online. You can do it on your phone.
Okay.
Actually, my wife did hers last night. I was her witness to her application. like 2 minutes.
Okay.
Literally, like, you plug in your details. You can use your finger to do your signature on your screen on your cell phone. You hit submit and it's gone. If you want old school, we have PDF documents that you can download and fill out, and then you can email those in after you've taken a picture with your phone. Or if you want really old school, you can go into the office and or see Miss Ellen in the back.
He's calling me really old school right now.
I was going to say that because someone reached out to me and asked about dropping off a mobile application at the office, and I couldn't understand why it was a question. You have to get it to the office, so if you don't do it electronically, we're happy to see you.
Yeah, of course. Hand it in.
Yeah.
Just get it in some way.
Yeah, so we're only open until 6 on Thursday, but emails can come in with applications after the fact. We just want to make sure that people don't wait to the last minute, because we'll invariably have some follow-ups. People forget to put their, in case of postal ballots, their telephone number overseas, because that's used by the couriers to, arrange delivery times and that kind of stuff with them. Or their handwriting is so poor that we can't make it out from the forms that they send in. So please don't pretend that your deadline is actually Wednesday, not Thursday.
And
we love to be last minute in Cayman.
and certainly not Thursday at 11:55 p.m. because you know how electronic communication can develop glitches.
Yeah. Yes, and Murphy's Law, your internet will pop out, something will happen.
Yes.
Wi-Fi will drop.
Cell phone battery dies or something.
Yes. It's always. This happened to me when I would hand in exams or essays at like 11:59 p.m. Literally a minute before it was due, so I understand.
Yes.
Okay, so the postal, which, as you said, is a little bit more pressing right now.
Yeah, because we were trying to get those out so they can go away and come back in time to be counted. So the postals have to be in hand with the returning officer on election day by 6 p.m. when the polls close. That's their cutoff. So if your ballot arrives the following day, then it won't be counted. So it's what's in hand at that particular time. And because election day is a holiday, the couriers aren't bringing in their aircraft, so nothing will be arriving in on that day. We're making arrangements to grab everything that comes in on the 29th, even if we need to put somebody on the plane to take the ones over to the BRAC, because they need to be in hand with the returning officers on the BRAC on that particular day, the 30th. So that's our priority now. We also have quite a number of persons who are traveling off island, and they're coming into the office once they've applied for postal and the postals have been issued. That takes a bit of time. We did put a release out on that. They come into the office, they pick up their envelope, which has all their material in it. They go into the booth we have set up there. They vote. They then do their declaration of identity, which is absolutely critical. You must do that for your ballot to be counted, and that needs to be witnessed and signed in the name of a witness. Once that's done, they then seal it back up and they drop it in a secure box that we have that is then transferred to the returning officer's postal ballot box when they come through the office. So that system has been working quite well.
Stick a pin in terms of witnessing the declaration for those persons. If they don't have a friend or family member who's gone to the office with them, our staff have been witnessing those documents, so no glitches there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the witness cannot be a candidate or an agent. If they are, if it is witnessed by a candidate or an agent, the ballot is actually spoilt, and it's an offence under the Elections Act. So candidates, agents, stay far away from anything to do with mobile applications, witnessing signatures and postal applications, and witnessing declaration of identity. So,
or showing up at the person's house when you know that they're doing the mobile voting. I think you were telling me about that last time as well, that there's been instances where that's happened.
So we did actually cover that in a briefing. When we did brief the candidates and the agents about it, it was from me a strong recommendation that they not do it. We were doing, Mr. Delano, our training manager, was doing our operational orders for mobile voting. And I just took the opportunity, he asked me to vet it for him, and I just took the opportunity to go back and reread that section of the law. And I'm like, wait a minute, this actually says that the agent is entitled to be present. But there's no mention of the candidate being present. And lo and behold, the definition of a mobile polling station is very different than the definition of a polling mobile polling station is very different than the definition of a polling station. And candidates actually are not allowed to be there by law at mobile polling. They can be there for postal ballot issues. They can be there for election day at the regular polling station, but not mobile. So we were able to send out that update by way of notice to candidates. I think it made it onto some of the social media sites as well. My son, who was away at school, said, "Dad, you would think that would be common sense, that folks know that they can't go into people's houses when their face is on the ballot paper." I'm like, no.
Common sense isn't always so common, right? That's what they say.
I was biting my tongue.
But that's where we are. So we gave them, the candidates, a lot of notice to say, listen, make sure you have your agents in place if you want to have them there for mobile voting, but you can't be there. So that's how we're rolling on mobile voting days.
It could be a bit like coercion in that sense, right? You have the intimidation factor. And,
we did. We had all that. We had complaints of people feeling harassed, feeling intimidated. We also had like sort of the opposite. Like, people are so angry that they insisted, and that's my diplomatic way of putting it, because some people were really upset about it, that so and so isn't allowed to step foot in their house. Like, I don't support you. I don't want you in my yard. I don't want you in my house. So like, why are you here? So when it got to that level, that's actually disrupting that person's ability to cast their vote, sort of in their own comfort, in their own space, and feeling safe, and they just didn't. So yeah.
So if they don't even, if somebody doesn't, if I'm doing mobile voting and I'm home and I'm, particularly for one party only, and I recognize that an agent is coming in for another party, can I say, no, I don't even want that agent in my home? So
the agents have a right to be there.
Okay.
They're not allowed to speak or interact with the voter. So yeah, we would ask for a bit of discretion with them.
Are they allowed to wear a shirt that says vote for so-and-so?
No. It's so the rules apply just like they do for election day. So
okay.
the party or the candidate pins and shirts and so on can't be worn.
Okay, got it.
So it's the same. Agents are allowed into polling stations to observe the process. So they are similarly allowed to be part of the mobile teams for observation only.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got to go to a commercial break right now. When we come back, we will continue our discussion on general elections, the postal and mobile voting, which we're talking about right now.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Samuel Osbert Bertie Ebanks, Certificate of Honor, JP, 1909 through 1996. Bertie Ebanks, like most of his contemporaries, started his working life as a seaman. Early in his career, he survived the sinking of the Vita Louise, on which he was an engineer. He became the Cayman Islands' first public health officer and sanitary inspector. Among his accomplishments were his insistence on sanitary disposal of household wastes and the immunization of the entire population against diphtheria and polio. With a budget of only £500, he eradicated the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which carries yellow fever, a feat that still baffles experts. Mr. Bertie served in the Assembly of Justices and Vestrymen as an elected member for West Bay from 1934 to 1942, and as a Justice of Peace from 1946 to 1959. He established the 4-H Club, the West Bay Cooperative Fishermen's Society, and the West Bay Reading Society, and wrote a book, Cayman Emerges. In 1930, he organized the Bosun Bay Sunday School, which was the forerunner of the Bosun Bay Presbyterian Church. He was awarded the Queen's Certificate and Badge of Honor in 1976 in recognition of services rendered to his country.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman's historical vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Hey Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked, you can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
I hope you're ready for change, cause I know I am. Cayman ranking! Ah yeah! Foot! Born and raised, Cayman strong. Northward roots where I belong. Cayman ranking is the way to vote. Ranking! Cayman ranking! We need. Ranking! Cayman ranking! We need. Ranking is the medicine that Cayman needs right now. That Cayman needs right now. Ranking! Cayman ranking! Ranking! The future of Bontown West is in your hands. The time for change is now.
Your voice matters. Your vote counts.
If you or someone you know may have difficulty getting to your designated polling locations on General Election and Referendum Day on the 30th of April, you should apply for mobile voting.
You don't have to miss your chance to vote.
If you're in the hospital, a rest home, or are unable to leave your home, if you have a physical disability that makes it difficult to vote in person, or if you'll be working on General Election and Referendum Day and will be unable to get to the polls,
apply for mobile voting. The deadline to apply is the 17th of April. Visit elections.ky or call 949-8047 for more information and assistance. Your vote matters, and the Elections Office wants to make sure it's heard.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about Election Day. The postal and mobile voting is what we're focusing on right now, and I have from the Cayman Islands Elections Office, I have Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Wesley Howell, and I have Deputy Supervisor of Elections, Ms. Sheena Glasgow. So good morning again to my guests. I know I figure we'll take the rest of this segment, which isn't too much left here, before we go to the 8 a.m. news, to still wrap up and give a little bit more details about the postal and mobile voting deadlines. Now, we know that for at least mobile, it's this Thursday.
Same.
For both.
For postal and mobile.
Okay.
They're both the 17th, Thursday.
And that's a fast turnaround for postal for sure, because if you're away and you need to get your votes and voting right away for that. All right, now.
Hence the use of a courier.
Right.
And the voter doesn't have any cost because the elections office has set up a system with DHL where even the return will be charged to the elections office. So the voter just needs to not delay, but do their part and get it back to us.
So they can't say, I have to spend $80 for... Okay, that's really, really good, actually. Yep. That's a really nice expense that you're taking on behalf of voters.
Yep.
Yeah, many countries don't actually have a means for citizens overseas to vote at all. There's no postal ballot bit. And we've just, because of our geography and where our people are all over the world, we're sending ballots to Australia and China and all sorts of places. We've got Cayman Islands all over the place. We took the decision a couple of seasons back to up the game to courier, just to minimize the delays, because when we did registered mail, registered mail was becoming the slowest form of mail there is, because there's checks at every stop, and we had quite a number of ballots that came in post-election that we then just had to discard because they couldn't be counted once they arrived after. So we upped the game and started sending via courier, and that's made a big difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we have time, can I just run through the dates for mobile
Absolutely. We
voting,
have the time.
The electoral districts. So, on Tuesday the 22nd, it will be Boddentown East, Boddentown West, Newlands, Savannah, and Prospect.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
In one day?
Yes, we have the teams out.
Okay.
Our logistics people just do a fantastic job. So on Wednesday the 23rd, it will be West Bay North, West Bay Central, West Bay West, West Bay South, and Georgetown North. 24th is dedicated to Little Cayman. One team is dedicated to Little Cayman on the 24th. On Grand Cayman, the electoral districts will be Georgetown Central, Georgetown West, Georgetown East, Georgetown South, and Red Bay. And then finally, on Friday, the 25th of April, it's Northside, East End, Cayman-Brac East, and Cayman-Brac West, actually on Cayman-Brac, not the Little Cayman portion, because that would have been dealt with earlier.
Right. Okay.
So just a little heads up. And again, fantastic website. A lot of majority, 99% of the questions that we get, the answers are actually on the website.
Right, elections.ky.
Yeah.
Yes, easiest website as well to remember.
So you did say that there was a lot. So typically we do mobile voting over 5 days, but Easter Monday is a holiday.
Yes.
And we didn't want to knock on anybody's doors on Easter Monday, so we sort of all compressed it into Tuesday to Friday, with Saturday left over for what we call mop-up, if there's anyone we don't get to, because we're not going to go to anyone's house after dark, so we'll stop about 7 p.m. And if there are folks that we can't find or we can't get to at that point, then we'll arrange to see them on Saturday.
Or somebody is sick or for some reason can't have you visit their location.
You'd be surprised. Some people put on their reason for not voting is that they're not mobile, but when we go to their houses, they're out and about. So they found some newfound energy and are gone. Which I can say quickly, if you're signed up for mobile and you don't vote by mobile, because when we came to you, you weren't there, and we just couldn't sync up with you. You can still come out on General Election Day and vote on that day, as long as you hadn't actually voted by post or by mobile.
Okay. All right. So this Thursday, which is the 17th, right?
Yes.
Okay, is the deadline to apply for both postal and mobile voting. And there's a very quick application process. Number one, you have to already be a registered voter, right?
Yeah.
And you have to give a reason as to why. And if you were doing the postal voting, which means you're going to likely be traveling?
Your ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
Your ticket has to show what exactly?
That you're leaving. So not between islands, but completely away from the Cayman Islands. And you'll be gone through Election Day. We have some people that are returning on island on the 30th. And they've applied for mobile, for postal voting. And we said, with air travel what it is, you might not make it back in time. So we're just going to go ahead and approve you for that, since there's a possibility, probably a strong possibility, that you might be away. And some folks are going for medical. So that's their booked return, but depending on how the medical treatment proceeds, they may not come back on that particular day. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We got to go to the 8 a.m. news now. And when we're done, it'll be about 8:15 when we return. I want to let listeners know that you can call us if you have any questions for Wesley or for Sheena. You can give us a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261.
Thank you, Kathy. And studio time by Foster's is 8:01.
Feast without the fuss.
Make Foster's part of your tradition this year with our full holiday feast.
For $94.99, you can feed up to 8 with a full meal. Order online, pick up in store.
Choose your main from our 12-hour smoked pork, oven-roasted turkey, or maple-glazed ham.
Or indulge your guests with our extra special herb-roasted leg of lamb feast or a 7-pound fried snapper for $119.99.
Order your full Easter feast online today at fosters.ky.
Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Cayman Brac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
News is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
With your latest news, I'm Carsley Fuller. An auxiliary police constable is arrested in a Georgetown robbery. On Friday, police arrested a 28-year-old Easton man on suspicion of conspiracy. The arrest relates to a, quote, high-value commercial robbery back in November when police received a report of an armed robbery in the parking lot of 454 Commercial Center on Eastern Avenue. It was reported that a man had been held up by 3 masked men, one of whom was armed with a firearm. They robbed a large quantity of cash and a cell phone. During the investigation, police recovered the cell phone and the suspected vehicle used in the incident. The 28-year-old has been granted bail as investigations continue, and the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service has suspended him from duty. Police also arrested a 30-year-old West Bay man back in December on suspicion of conspiracy to commit robbery and other related offenses related to the same November 18th incident. A 2024 burglary case heads to Grand Court this week. Solomon Beckford is also charged with theft in connection to the incident at a Georgetown school on Walker's Road. Evidence presented so far includes testimony from police witnesses and CCTV footage. Beckford's defense claims he was at home with his wife at the time and argues police failed to verify his alibi, adding that his wife has since passed away. The case is expected to continue at the main court building later today. In other news, the Cayman Islands National Party publishes its 2025 election manifesto, the People's Blueprint for Cayman's Future.
This is not just another campaign document. It is the result of months of listening, research, and hard work, crafted to confront the real problems we face and deliver real solutions that put Caymanians first.
CINP leader Dan Scott says the document outlines the party's policy agenda on national issues, including things like housing, education, healthcare, immigration, the economy, and good governance.
We invite you to read the full plan at nationalparty.ky/manifesto.
If you're going to be off island for the general election on April 30th, you need to get your postal ballot application in by Thursday.
In recent weeks, the Elections Office has experienced an increase in postal ballot applications that were submitted just days before the elector was set to travel, with the expectation of immediate access to postal voting at the Elections Office pre-departure.
Supervisor of Elections Wesley Howell tells Radio Cayman while his office recognizes that, quote, unforeseen circumstances can arise, it's important to understand that the preparation and processing of postal ballots, quote, requires adequate time.
To ensure a smooth process and that all votes count, electors are strongly encouraged to plan ahead and apply early. The application deadline for postal voting is this Thursday, April 17th.
This deadline factors in the upcoming Easter holidays, as well as courier transportation timelines for the overseas delivery and return of postal ballots. To apply, head to elections.ky. Now with a check of international news, here's the BBC, which takes us out of the newscast. I'm Karsley Fuller.
BBC News with David Harper. The UN says women's bodies have become battlegrounds in Sudan, where 2 years into the conflict, rape is being routinely used as a weapon of war. The UN Secretary-General Antonio Guterres said abuses were being committed by both the Sudanese army and the paramilitary RSF. Britain's Foreign Secretary has said the international community needs to persuade the warring parties in Sudan to protect civilians and let aid in. International delegations meeting in London have pledged to help find a pathway to peace. The French authorities say several prisons have been targeted during the night in what appears to be coordinated attacks. Cars and mopeds were set on fire in prison parking lots, and the entrance gate of a jail in Toulon was hit with gunfire. A Russian hairdresser has been sentenced to 5 years in jail for spreading false information about the war in Ukraine. The case against Anna Alexandrova was brought after she was denounced by a neighbour who she'd fallen out with over a plot of land near St. Petersburg. The US Vice President says it's in neither Europe's own nor America's interests for the continent to be what he called a permanent security vassal of America. J.D. Vance said Europe's entire security infrastructure had been subsidized by the US. Shares in the US plane manufacturer Boeing have fallen in pre-market trading amid reports that President Trump's tariff policies could hit its future sales. China is said to have ordered its airlines not to take any more deliveries of Boeing planes. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Buttontown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin are the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Buttontown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Big decisions need real data. Before we vote on April 30th, we deserve to know the full picture.
Cruise lines control how passengers spend their money, from shopping on board to taking the lion's share of pre-booked tours. That means less business for Cayman's tour operators and retailers. A pair won't change that. Instead, it just gives cruise corporations a bigger stake in Cayman's tourism industry. If we want a stronger economy, we need better deals for Caymanians, not more power for cruise lines. Vote no on April 30th.
Cayman's economy should serve Caymanians first. Save our Cayman. Vote no to cruise berthing infrastructure.
The new KFC nuggets have arrived. That unlike the no-gets. Ours are handmade using 100% white meat, unlike the no-gets. At KFC, we hand bread every day to achieve the perfect flavor. After you try our delicious and crispy nuggets in the original recipe, you'll never settle for less. KFC, the real nuggets. It's finger-licking good.
Radio Cayman Super Jam Show, the #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
Brought to you by these kind sponsors.
The Cayman Islands Football Association, CIFA, building a better future for Cayman football.
Cayman Insurance Center.
Don't take chances with your family's future or your valuable assets. Call me today, Michael Webster, at 925-5433.
UWI Open Campus, on-site, online, and on demand.
Visit open.uwi.edu. Call them today at 946-8322.
Also brought to you by
Cayman Airways. Call them at 949-2311 to book your non-stop flights to Los Angeles and Panama.
Superior Auto Center. Do it right the first time with Superior Auto.
949-9570
or 525-9571.
Superior Auto. They keep your car in tune.
And Coca-Cola, available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga wholesalers. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
An Ocean Deep Mobile Massage, your go-to for high-quality massage and spa services. WhatsApp 924-4159 or email oceandeepmassage21@gmail.com.
The #1 drive time entertainment show on your radio.
The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 82 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. The barometric pressure is 29.97 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 10 knots. Overnight low was 79 degrees. Synopsis indicate excessive moisture coupled with a retrogressing surface trough will allow for periods of rain with some thunderstorms later today. A decrease in both cloudiness and shower activity is expected by late this evening as a ridge of high pressure builds across the northwest Caribbean. Moderate winds and seas are expected to continue through tonight as an area of high pressure located in the western Atlantic moves towards the central Atlantic. A shift and increase in winds are expected by tomorrow morning as the high pressure continues to build. Radar images show scattered showers with bands of rain in and around the Cayman area, mainly to the south with general movement towards the northeast. Now the forecast for the Cayman Islands for today calling for cloudy to overcast skies with periods of rain and scattered thunder showers, and showers will be locally heavy at times, leading to possible flooding. Temperatures today will be in the low 80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots with higher gust in and around heavy showers, and seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Seas will be choppy in and around heavy showers. Forecast for tonight calling for cloudy skies with a 40% chance of showers and possible thunder, mainly across Grand Cayman. Showers will be locally heavy at times, leading to possible flooding. Temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots, shifting northeast and becoming 5 to 10 knots later tonight. Seas will be moderate with wave heights of 3 to 5 feet. Today's high tide will occur this morning at 9:41, low tide this afternoon at 4:17, and a high tide again tonight at 11:31. The sun will set this evening at 6:42 and will rise tomorrow morning at 8 minutes after 6. And the outlook is calling for a gradual increase in winds and seas likely from Thursday as the area of high pressure system continues to build near the Bahamas. A small craft advisory will likely be issued from Friday morning. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
I was undercover and had just recovered the stolen artwork, but...
Aunt Angie, what does this have to do with managing my insurance?
Well, long story long. I found the art thief in France, but ended up becoming somewhat of a local celebrity. So I had to stick around for a while. But I was able to handle all my insurance needs with CG's online portal.
The online portal. Safe, convenient, simple. CG Britcay. Good like that.
The 8 a.m. weather update, brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Since 1993, Rotary Central has worked diligently each year to provide quality bus shelters to our community. A traveling convenience to our school children, the elderly, young people going to work, guest workers, and visitors using the public bus. We, Rotary Central, help you, our advertisers, make it happen. Your marketing dollar travels a far way, positioning your message, your product, your services, your presence in over 83 bus shelters. Every dollar you spend, every advert you place helps to build another bus shelter, providing modest comfort for Cayman travelers. Reserve space now on the only billboard medium in the Cayman Islands. Email rotaryshelters@gmail.com. rotaryshelters@gmail.com. The Bus Shelters, a partner in community convenience. Another inspiration program by Rotary Central Cayman Islands.
Life is full of challenges, but you don't have to face them alone. At the Institute for Essential Care, we're here to support, guide, and empower you and your family through every stage of life. The Institute for Essential Care. Call us today at 1-345-325-7556. Email us at therapy@caymanessentialcare.com. Visit us online at www.caymanessentialcare.com.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
Good morning again. Let's take a quick look at what's happening on the road. Slow-moving traffic on Cool Road, heading to Georgetown. Slight delays expected. Coming off of Agnes Way and Bobby Thompson Way, steady but flowing traffic. Further up on Shamrock Road, traffic is moving on moderately. Then for Pearson Highway, moderate flow of traffic as you start on your journey there towards Georgetown. As we look to Esteli Tibbetts Highway, traffic is moderate. Godfrey Nixon Way flowing moderately. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is flowing at a good pace in both directions. And Eastern Avenue, moderate flow of traffic. Have you seen accidents or incidents? Please let us know by calling us at 949-6990. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic.
Hungry? Need Subway any time of the day?
Yeah.
We've got you covered. Subway at Anderson Square, Centennial Towers, and Countryside Shopping Village is open 24/7, serving up fresh, delicious subs anytime you need them. And for your weekend cravings, West Shore Center is also open 24 hours on Friday nights and until 1 a.m. on Saturdays, because it's never too late for a great meal. Skip the line and order ahead with the Subway Cayman Islands app, or get your favorites delivered straight to your door with Bento and Let's Eat. Fresh, fast, and always here when you need us. Subway, eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking everything about Elections Day with the Cayman Islands Elections Office. In studio with me, I have Mr. Wesley Howell, Supervisor of Elections, and Miss Sheena Glasgow, Deputy Supervisor of Elections. And the first half hour of the show, we were talking so much about postal and mobile voting, which the deadline for that is this Thursday, April 17th. You must apply. You can do so online through the elections.ky website. You have to already be a registered voter. And those voter lists have been finalized as of April 1st. So now we know everybody who's a registered voter. Yes. We can check that out. And you have to give a valid reason of why you're applying for postal and mobile voting. If you're doing postal voting, you also have to show your plane tickets out of the Cayman Islands, so you can't be going to the sister islands. Then you would be eligible to do mobile voting. But you do have to provide evidence that you will not be in the Cayman Islands during the date of April 30th. And even if you're returning on April 30th, you might still want to consider the postal voting because, you know, there could be delays in flights and we never know what's going on around the world that could kind of halt somebody's travel, right?
Absolutely. And like students are providing their school IDs or their class schedules and stuff to show that they're actually off island and doing university, college in another country. So and I'm really pleased that quite a bit of them are applying for their postal ballot. So
me too.
Yeah.
That means the young ones are in it. We like to think that they're kind of disengaged, but a lot are still. But I think when you see that your friends are taking other things serious and you're a little younger, you start to kind of change your mind and look at things differently.
Absolutely.
So I do want to remind people, if you have calls or questions, you can give us a call at 1-800-534-8255, 949-6990, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261. And we did have 2 messages that came in via WhatsApp. And one of them, which was kind of interesting because I was going to ask this during the first half hour. I think, Sheena, it was when you said when the mobile voting is happening, like when you guys are in Little Cayman, for example. I think this is when you mentioned it. You have to have your ID. This is after you've been approved to do mobile voting. You have to have your ID on you, and you guys will have everything else. And you said, we'll have the pencils. And I was like, wait, does it have to be pencils? So the question that came in is, can you please ask your guests, why do you have to use pencils to mark your vote?
Don't have to.
Okay.
But it's been traditional.
Tradition.
And it's a detail that the election office provides for every voter. So if they wish to walk in with their ID and a pen to mark their ballot, as long as the ballot is marked in a way that makes it legitimate and not spoiled, we'll still count it with pen ink.
Okay, excellent. I think we got a call coming in via WhatsApp as well.
Okay.
But we did have also another question that came via WhatsApp. And that one is, can you ask your panel, so this is away from the mobile and postal discussion we were having, can you ask your panel, how is the referendum for the cruise port is worded? Seen ads saying vote yes for cruise tourism. They said ... They're seen ads saying vote yes for cruise tourism. I don't know if you quite understood that, but I can repeat it.
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
So the question is, I'm assuming that listener is asking, does the referendum speak to cruise tourism or cruise berthing? And it's absolutely cruise berthing. So there's been some discomfort with the fact that some of the posters are saying vote yes for cruise tourism when the question on the ballot is cruise berthing. So the actual question forms part of the law and is... I'll look it up in 2 seconds here.
No problem.
I don't want to misquote on there, but it absolutely says...
Let me look it up.
You can find it.
Yeah, it absolutely says cruise
and
berthing.
we'll see.
Yeah.
We have the WhatsApp caller as well, so we can take that call. So I'm just going to ask you to pop your headphones on as well to make sure you can both hear the question here. And good morning. Thank you for calling Radio Cayman's The Buzz.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm doing fine. How are you all?
Excellent. Thank you.
I can see Sheena laughing now.
Yeah, she just whispered your name.
She's like whispered your name to me, multiple names. So, morning, sir.
Yeah, I had to turn up the volume in my earphones.
Maybe
morning,
it's better
sir.
you don't do that. Good morning again. I'm a little confused. A few weeks ago, the Compass, I believe, one of the newspapers online said that voting was going to take place in Little Cayman. I think it was the 24th. 24th, okay. And anyone can vote then. And then that's what I read. And now this morning you all are talking about mobile voting. I assume that when you said Little Cayman, that is mobile voting. It's not voting for everybody, right?
Yes, sir. Agree. Absolutely. So it is mobile voting, and you need to apply for it.
Okay, because the press in this country needs to get these things right, and that's like how they conflate dissolution of Parliament with prorogation of Parliament. They're two different things. Because the Constitution is very specific when it comes to general election. The governor must issue a proclamation for a date, time, and place. And that is only one day. So you can't have two. Now, Wes, I want you to know that I am in support of us having early elections. And Sheena smiled. I would prefer to see, and I've always said this, our general election is on the 30th this year. We could have early election days for each district. And then on election day, you're not going to worry about it. I mean, you just need to safeguard those ballots. That's all. And then the day wouldn't be as difficult, the day of election. So I'm in support of that kind of innovative means of making this a little more efficient, you see? But the press can't say that anyone can vote in Little Cayman when the provisions are only for mobile voting.
Yes, sir.
Which has to be approved in advance. So the people who are not, the uniform services, which is fine, and nurses, doctors, whatever, in those areas, they can apply to do the mobile because of their work schedules, and all of them can do it, I believe. But anyone else in Little Cayman needs to go to the polling station, whether we have a polling station in Little Cayman or not. If it's in Kimmerbrook, on the west side of Kimmerbrook, then they need to travel there. But I suspect you have a polling station down there for election day.
Yes.
Yeah, so somebody needs to get to the press and make them understand what you're saying. Because they conflate, they confuse, they do all manner of evil that have the people questioning whether or not we're making new rules in the middle of the law. And they can't be doing that, Wes. Somebody needs to what do you say? Fact check these press, the press in this country. Anyway, that was what I wanted to clear up because it was confusing to me.
We thank you for that, sir.
Oh, thank you very much as well.
Thank you. And admittedly, I may have gotten those terms mixed up as well. So thank you for teaching me that there is a difference. I appreciate it. I'm not going to know everything, so I appreciate when I can also be checked with the correct information. So I appreciate that. And to give you a little bit of, I want to say, comfort, the Compass listens to us all the time and takes some news from what we might be sharing in our morning shows and make stories out of them for Compass News. So hopefully that they will be listening this morning. I'm sure they are. And they'll take into heed what you have shared with us this morning. So thank you for your calls and your comments.
When you prorogue Parliament, it's once a year. So it's just like any company. You shut your company down once a year, and that's your financial year. In the companies, it's financial year. Now, when you dissolve that company, that's the end of that company. Likewise, when you dissolve Parliament, that's the end of Parliament. Parliament is over. But we make provisions to recall the members if there is an emergency. You see?
Yes.
And those are two different things. But people saying that the House is prorogued. It's not prorogued. Right now, that House is dissolved. The Cayman Islands does not have a Parliament at this time. It has the executive, wherein provisions are made for the executive to continue the operation of government. And provisions are made if we have an emergency, i.e. war, which you'll never have, bad hurricane or something at this stage. Probably won't have hurricane either, but something of catastrophic event or something like that. Then we can recall all of those to come to Parliament to make a law for whatever and run the country. And to extend Parliament beyond that 4 years, we have to change the Constitution. Remember, in 2005, West, 2004, it was, when the Hurricane Ivan, we amended the Constitution, but we put a sunset clause in there for the election to go to 6 months, which was May. And that's, but people needs to study this thing and understand it, because what you do is confuse the populace, and they just, and me out here knowing different. My question is, you mean Western the governor is changing the Constitution and the laws? It can't be, because then we don't have a democracy. We have a dictatorship that we do what we want with our election, which must be fair, and one or two people can't do that. That is why, West, I've always called for, and I'm saying this again, for a commission, because we have a commission of one, who that one should not be involved in our general elections. There must be a commission, and remove this from under any, what is Queen, King, representative now. We have advanced. Politically, we must have matured enough to a point, I don't know, Wes, you can say 3, 5, I don't know, people to manage and so that people can appeal to. You can appeal to the representative. That was all well and good when we were down there in the place time for God. We are no longer the place time for God. What the governor doing in our election? Yeah, on the basis of good governance? No, absolutely not. You could tell me we don't have intelligent enough people to deal with that? Of course we do. And every time we get 1 inch of autonomy, they take 1 foot from us. Time stop that now. And hear me talking like I'm some candidate. Sorry, Wes.
Well, you might be forecasting for the future again. I think I've seen some social clips of you going around, which you were speaking strongly in. So, good to hear your voice as always.
Yeah. Duly noted, Mr. McLean, and you know that neither Mr. Howell nor I disagree with you. But all I will say is, I'm still employed as a civil servant with a mortgage to pay. So I'm limited in what I should say on air. And I know that sometimes Mr. Howell probably cringes when I'm saying something because he doesn't know what I'm going to say. But I'm going to be a very good girl today.
I'm definitely the worst of the three right here. Thank you so much for your call. We got to go to a commercial break right now, and when we come back, we're going to answer that WhatsApp question that had come in from another listener.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Kirk Freeport's Easter at Bayshore is back. Hop over to the Bayshore Mall on Saturday, April 19th from 4 to 6 p.m. for an extra special Easter celebration. Meet the Easter Bunny, enjoy sweet treats, and join the fun with the scavenger hunt, chocolate prizes, plus face painting, games, and more. And the best part? It's all free, including free parking behind the Bayshore Mall. Visit KirkFreeport.com for details. Happy Easter from everyone at Kirk Freeport.
ask on something. You think if we keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, anything gonna change? No, brother. Cayman needs change. We deserve better. And I say no more. Caymanians are not for sale. Real change comes from hard work and investing in our people. And the time for change is now. And I will deliver the change we need.
Ranking is the one for we. Give him the vote and you will see.
The nation listens. The candidates speak. Subway presents the General Election Debates live in studio on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9 in the Sister Islands every Monday and select Wednesdays from 7 to 10 p.m. 2 sessions, one powerful discussion. With Election Day fast approaching, hear what the candidates have to say on the cost of living, housing and development, economic growth, sustainability, education, transport, tourism, immigration and more. Who has the vision? Who has the plan? Hear it all unfold live, unfiltered, and on the voice of the Cayman Islands. Radio Cayman 89.9 FM and 93.9. Streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Visit Radio Cayman's social media pages for debate details. Brought to you in part by Cayman Enterprise City, Reflections, UCCI, and Yum.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I'm your host, Kathy Miller, and we are talking about general elections, particularly Election Day, all the kind of rules you have to know about when it comes to voting, when it comes to the postal and mobile voting. Again, your deadline to apply for postal and mobile voting is this Thursday, April 17th. But, make it tomorrow because we don't want to stress these people out any more than they're going through. Make it today even. And I know that they got a couple applications during the show, so feel a little good about that. We have in studio Mr. Wesley Howell, Supervisor of Elections, and Ms. Sheena Glasgow, Deputy Supervisor of Elections. We had something with the caller that we're going to respond to as well, but before we go to that, there was the question that was posed via WhatsApp. And just to remind our listeners, the question was, can you ask your panel, how is the referendum for the cruise port worded? How is the referendum question for the cruise port worded? ... Seen ads saying vote yes for cruise tourism.
Okay. I will also see ads voting no.
Me too.
But the question that will appear on the ballot is, should the Cayman Islands develop cruise berthing infrastructure? So let me say that again. Should the Cayman Islands develop cruise berthing infrastructure? And since I'm talking referendum questions, let me just throw the other two in here. The second one is, do you support the introduction of a national lottery in the Cayman Islands? Do you support the decriminalization of the consumption and possession of small amounts of cannabis? And after each of those questions, there's a box that says yes, and there's a box that says no. So your vote can be either in support or against each question. You just have to decide individually. Everybody has their own views, hence some of the advertising that says vote yes. And there's other advertising that I've seen around the place that says vote no. So.
Yeah, and I think part of the sort of hidden question in that question is, does cruise tourism appear on the ballot? And it doesn't. So the vote yes banners are saying yes for cruise tourism, and the vote no is, that I've seen are sticking to the script that's on the ballot paper and saying vote no against cruise berthing.
I've actually seen somebody shared with me a T-shirt that was like, vote no to all three. And I was like, well, I mean, to each their own. It's
Yes.
The important thing is you have to be a registered voter to even make your voice count here.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's how I look at it, because we can all have our hoopla over social media, over discussions with our friends, over over media, over radio, but if you're not a registered voter, I mean, that's where it counts.
These are topical issues that have been circulating in our country for years.
Yes.
And to put it simply, the referendum questions is the government's attempt to gauge the opinions of the registered voters on these particular questions. And then afterward, they will decide whether they put continued energy into developing the issues or let it rest for a while. But I look at the answers to these referendum questions as citizens' guidance to the government in the near future as to how we tackle these specific issues.
Agreed. Yeah. What is the overall consensus of those who are voting?
Yes.
Yeah. Who are part of that democratic process and helping the government to make a decision in what to do.
And that's why it's a non-binding referendum, because the government will choose to put energies into developing further or choose not to put energies into developing further based on the answers of the voters.
When we say non-binding, can you break that down a little?
Let Mr. Howell take that one over.
So that's a creature of our Constitution. So if there is a people-initiated referendum which needs 25% of the registered voters to kickstart it, if that referendum goes forward, and then when the voting takes place, if 50% plus one of the registered voters vote in favor of or against that referendum, then that result is binding on the government. So they have to follow the prescripts of the referendum. When it's a government-initiated referendum, it's a slightly separate, different section of the Constitution, and the results are not binding. So it's advisory. The government will take it into advice effectively.
Okay, thank you for that. That helps a little bit right there.
Yeah.
Now, some people might be confused and think when they go to the polling stations on election day, or even with the mobile or postal votes, that they have to choose a candidate and then they have to vote for one of those three referendum questions, or all three. Can you break it down? Can we just vote for a candidate?
Yeah. So the entire ballot paper, first off, everything is on one ballot paper. So it's one sheet. And for the districts with the 5 candidates, you got your choice of one of the 5 candidates at the top, and then you have each of the referendum questions, yes or no. So you can vote for a candidate of your choice, no more than one, or you may not want to vote for a candidate at all. And then you can vote for any of the referendum questions, yes or no. Can't be both. So yes or no for any of the 3 referendum questions, or all 3 of the referendum questions, and your ballot would be counted as you've cast your vote. So, and we've gone through. We had our last training session for the folks doing tallying for us. This is what we do on the count for the vote after the election day closes. And we had some scenarios last night where ballots were marked for a candidate but not marked for any referendum questions. Ballots were marked for one referendum question but no candidates or any of the other 3, and ballots were marked in most cases for all 4, the candidate plus the 3 referendum questions. So any of those combinations, you can't spoil your ballot by leaving something blank. If you vote for more than one candidate, you'll end up spoiling your vote for candidate because you're going to get one. If you vote yes and no for a single referendum question, then you will spoil that question. But if you voted correctly for the other 3, then those would count. So the counting is a bit sort of binary, that each one is looked at individually.
Okay, you answered my next question that I had there. What if I'm on the fence about certain things? So what if I voted yes and no? It doesn't help anybody doing the tallying.
Yes and
but
no.
the other was a clear indication of yes or no.
Exactly. Yeah.
You would look at the clear indication of what I've said and still count that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And while we're talking about marking the ballot, let me interject. If you mark the ballot in any way that identifies you as a voter, the whole thing is spoiled. We don't count any of your answers after that. So please don't do that. We take seriously the secrecy of voters exercising this democratic right. And there should be no pressure to say how you voted in any way, shape, or form. Whether it's surveys before election day and people come knocking at your door, calling you, emailing, whatever, and your actual the activity of actually marking your ballot to indicate your personal choices, be it for a candidate or be it for the referendum questions, both of them, we want to maintain secrecy.
Do people actually sign their name? Kathy Miller has voted this way on their ballot.
Some people do, and that's an automatic way to get your vote to not count at all, because the entire ballot paper will be spoiled at that point. So no votes counted for candidates, no vote counted for any of the referendum. So that's a surefire way of spoiling the entire ballot. We don't have very many of them. Typically we have, we can count on one hand the number of spoiled ballots that we have. So encouraging people to go and vote the right way and do the right thing when they're in there.
I got a question via WhatsApp again, and this one says, can you have the guests repeat what is a spoiled ballot?
Yeah.
Do not sign your name on it. I know that much so far.
Yeah, do not vote for more than one candidate. So first of all, you can't spoil a ballot entirety by making an error on either the candidates or any of the referendum questions, because each section of the ballot paper is treated separately. But if you vote for more than one candidate, you will spoil your vote for candidate, because you can only vote for one. If you vote for no candidates, you also effectively spoil your ballot for candidates, your vote for candidates, because that would be a rejected for candidates, because there's no vote marked. On the referendum questions, each question has a yes and a no. If you select both yes and no, so you put 2 marks for one referendum question, you'll spoil that particular question. And that's the same for all 3 referendum questions. So those are the ways that you could spoil your ballot. But I prefer to think in a positive, and that when you go into the booth, you can choose to vote for one candidate by placing your X in the box there, and the ballot will have the candidate's number arranged in alphabetical order. They'll have the candidate's name, the photo of the candidate if they're affiliated with a party, then the party logo, and then a space for your mark for your X. And
if
then
they're independent, it will indicate IND
for independent,
as opposed to a party logo.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then the bottom section of the ballot paper will have the 3 referendum questions. Again, the question is across the middle of the ballot paper. Then there's a box for yes, and a space next to the X for yes for you to mark your X, and similar for no, and that's repeated for the 3 referendum questions. So.
And before they question, traditionally we have used an X to indicate your vote, but a check mark will still be counted as long as it clearly indicates your choice. It will still count.
Okay, got you. And am I correct in saying the pet names of the candidates will be on there?
Yes,
if
they've requested it.
If they did indicate that on nomination day. So the way that the names of the candidates appear on our website is the way that the names appear on the ballot paper. So they'll be exactly the same as they are there.
Okay.
And their photos are on the website as well. So yeah.
I mean, there's been a couple candidates that that's your first name? This whole time I've called I've called you something else.
Yes,
so
yes.
I think we're gonna find that with quite a few people might be a little confused. But again, the picture being there will be super helpful as well, because hopefully you really do know what they look like as well. And whether they're affiliated with a party.
Or independent.
Yeah, or independent. Yeah. All that helps.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in case there's confusion for the people going to the polling station, is there going to be instructions at the booth on what to do or what not to do?
Yeah, so by law, we have a form for that. It's Form 24, and it's instructions to voters. We actually have that form on our website, and it effectively shows you what a ballot paper looks like and where to mark your X, and what constitutes a proper mark, and some of the things that you shouldn't do. So yeah.
Okay. Easy peasy. We've got to go to a commercial break. I'm a couple minutes late with this break right now, so let's go to the break.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center.
Specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Big decisions need real data. Before we vote on April 30th, we deserve to know the full picture.
Building a cruise pier means years of construction, traffic congestion, business closures, and lost jobs. And for what? A project that mainly benefits the cruise lines? Local businesses, tour operators, and family-run shops will feel the impact long before any promised gains materialize. Why should Cayman take on the risk while cruise companies take the reward? Vote no on April 30th.
Caymanians deserve better. Vote no to cruise berthing infrastructure.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz, and I believe, Sheena, we had something that we wanted to clear up as well from when we had a call, right?
Yes. And it goes back to Mr. Arden McLean and his comments on mobile voting in Little Cayman. So hopefully I will help make this clearer. The team from Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman will go over to Little Cayman on the 24th. This is the elections office approach to ease access to voting for registered voters who reside on Little Cayman. If this option wasn't offered, what would happen is that on election day, any registered voter who resides on Little Cayman and wants to vote, they would have to find their way over to Cayman Brac to do that. So this is really, as I said, a mechanism to facilitate ease of voting for registered Little Cayman voters specifically. So I'm registered in Savannah because I live there. I can't go to Little Cayman and vote. Mm-hmm. No. This is specifically for registered voters who reside in Little Cayman. So hopefully I helped make that a little bit clearer there.
Yes, I think so.
All right.
We also had a question that did come in during the break, and I'm not sure if we have a phone call or if I imagine that. Oh, okay, the caller, call back. I heard you hung up. Call back. Sorry about that. So to ask this question now that came in via WhatsApp, what level of participation is required for referendum questions in order for the new government to consider the outcome, quote, the will of the people?
So there is no bar, is the short answer for that, because it's not a binding referendum. So it would be a simple majority in favor of or against each of the referendum questions on there. So it's all advisory.
Right. I was just going to say, and they would just take it as advice, not necessarily have to follow the, quote, will of the people.
Yes. And if I may interject, some people who are registered voters, and this is their right, to talk about, they're not going to vote, for whatever personal reasons. If you think about it, not voting is still a vote. But at least when you cast your vote, you are participating in the process. But again, it is a personal choice. But not voting, you still impact the outcome in some way.
Absolutely. And for some things I think I can understand, because if, like I said, I was on the fence about certain things, and sometimes you just want more information or more concrete information, and you have to, there's a lot of things to weigh. So I can understand if people choose, when it comes to the referendum questions in particular, not to vote at all in that situation. But again, as you did say, not voting is also a vote. And again, it's non-binding.
Yes.
And it's taken as advice.
And I like to say, personally, if you don't vote, then don't complain for the next 4 years about anything that came out of the general election on April 30th. But if you want the right to complain and express your opinion, be it positive or especially negative, go out and vote.
Agreed. I had a great conversation with one of my friends about this, and they came back and said, well, but I'm not a voter. And I'm like, okay. And they went on to say other things, and I'm like, I'm not pressing you. You're you don't have to confess to me in this sense, but I get it. You're not a voter, but you feel very passionately about the issue that we were discussing. So maybe it's something that you want to consider in the future.
Yeah. Mr. Howell shared it in a way that really resonated with me. You might not like the choices that you have on the ballot, but if you think about it, there are some options that are worse than the other ones.
Yeah.
Or less palatable, shall we say, than the other options. And sometimes, if you're not decided and firmly in support one way or the other, or a particular candidate, you might need to look at it from the opposite side, which is, what's the worst of that?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to see that outcome. And then you cast your vote accordingly.
As people like to say, and these are not my words, but as people like to say, quote, the lesser of two evils.
Thank you. Yes.
Yes. So
you're a civil servant too, right?
I am a civil servant too. I have a little bit more flexibility. Again, they were not my words. I said, quote. So not saying anybody is evil in nature.
That is well-known quote.
Yeah. It is very much so. It can be applied to many situations. Yes. Yeah, it's an important day, man. There's so many important decisions to be made, and the outcome and the future of our country, which we know there's so much going on.
Absolutely.
So,
but isn't that the case for every election? Because our world changes so fast, and we have so much challenges that every election is important.
It is.
It's not the same as it was 4 years ago. We're all living in a different world. And I say world specifically because it's not just within the Cayman Islands. There are things happening externally that still impact us in the Cayman Islands. So we need to exercise, call it guidance to the government by our choices that we will make on the 30th of April. So I'm just encouraging everyone who is a registered voter and they're able to vote don't waste that opportunity. But at the end of the day, we're not forcing you. This is just strong encouragement to go out and vote.
I agree with you, and I think the important thing is it's our one time we can really make a say.
Yes.
We have our chance to have a say, and if we're not in it, we can't win it. You know, you got to be in it to win it, kind of thing,
I like
right?
that one. Yes.
So and you're right. There's so many global challenges going on. There's like almost like a global trade war going on, and you know, my thing looking into the future, how our legislators going to help the Cayman Islands kind of brace ourselves for what is already happening. You know, there's a whole bunch of other issues affecting Cayman. So what is the way forward? What are the solutions? You know, there's so much. And I mean, just 4 years ago, we were dealing with COVID.
Yes.
And nobody expected a worldwide pandemic that was taking out millions of people around the world to happen, but it happened. So we don't know what kind of new and kind of crazy challenges will happen. So in saying all of that, when we come back from our 9 a.m. headline news, we're going to still be talking about Election Day. We're going to be going into specifics about polling day and some campaign rules and enforcements that people have to know, and a couple of other things, some penalties. I got to ask about, just some of the rules out there. And something that happened with a candidate that I don't know if you guys can clear up. So maybe after the 9 a.m. headline news, we'll head into that.
From Radio Cayman's newsroom, this is Headlines. Local, regional, international news.
The headline news is brought to you by Kirk Market and Health Services Authority.
A bird strike grounds a Cayman Airways flight following the arrival of the flight to Panama on Monday. The national airline says there was evidence of a possible bird strike identified during a routine inspection, with damage to the edge of the aircraft's right wing. While initial assessments suggest only minimal impact, CAL grounded the aircraft temporarily as a precaution. The Trump administration has said it is freezing more than $2 billion in federal funds for Harvard University hours after the elite college rejected a list of demands from the White House. The White House sent a list of demands to Harvard last week, which it said were designed to fight anti-Semitism on campus. They include changes to hiring, admissions, and teaching. Since Donald Trump was reelected, his government has tried to reshape elite universities by threatening to withhold federal funds, mostly spent on research. Harvard became the first major university to reject the administration's demands on Monday, accusing the White House of trying to, quote, control its community. And Donald Trump has blamed Volodymyr Zelensky for starting the war with Russia, a day after a massive Russian attack killed 35 people and injured 117 others in Ukraine. The U.S. president said the Ukrainian leader shared the blame with Russian President Vladimir Putin for, quote, millions of people dead in the Ukraine war. Trump's comments come after widespread outrage over Russia's attack on the Ukrainian city of Sumy on Sunday, which was the deadliest Russian attack on civilians this year. Those are your headlines. I'm Karsley Fuller.
Radio Cayman. More news available at www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Check out our social media pages: Facebook, YouTube, X, formerly Twitter, Radio Cayman Headline News.
Do you have a healthcare question but not sure who to ask? Contact HSA's Patient Call Center to speak to one of our experienced clinical team members. We are here to answer your questions and help guide you through your healthcare journey. Need to make an appointment? Our team can help. Contact HSA at 949-8600 or email info@hsa.ky. At HSA, we are committed to caring for you.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Hey Cayman parents, we get it. You're underslept, over-trafficked, you can barely find your sanity in the morning because you're still trying to find your kids' shoes and lunch boxes. Let Yum take some of the stress away. Every day, over 3,000 students enjoy delicious, nutritious meals from Yum. Over 5 million lunches served and counting. Private school parents? Browse the Yum Cayman app and order up to a month in advance or last minute by 12 a.m. the night before. Government school students? Just drop by the Yum canteen. No pre-orders needed. Yum can't help you find your sanity, but we can sure make your mornings just a bit easier. Check out daily menus at myschoolpos.com or visit yumcayman.ky to learn more.
The Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Welcome back to The Buzz. I am your host, Kathy Miller, and in studio with me, I have Supervisor of Elections, Mr. Wesley Howell, and Deputy Supervisor of Elections, Ms. Sheena Glasgow. We are talking about Election Day. We covered in the very first half hour of the show about the postal and mobile voting. Mm-hmm. I turned it into postal, you know? And again, the deadline to apply for that, I'm just going to say it's today. It's really Thursday, April 17th, but we want to get your applications to be able to do a postal ballot or a mobile ballot in as soon as possible. The deadline really is Thursday, but you don't want to wait until the very, very last minute.
Don't procrastinate. Please.
Yes, don't pull a Kathy.
Yeah.
You can get it done today. And we had some WhatsApp questions coming in regards to the referendum, and we have a question that also came in, a few questions that came in via WhatsApp that we were able to kind of listen to during the break right now. So I'm not going to remember the questions, but I know Wes has noted down what the answers to those questions are. So he's going to reiterate what some of those are right now.
Yeah, so I think it just flows with what we were going into next anyway. So on referendum and election day, April 30th, there's no campaigning on that day. All of the signage that is up has to come down, or there's a fine for each sign that is there. This includes referendum signs. So that previous question about the vote yes and the vote no, all those signs need to be pulled down before midnight on April 30th, going into polling day.
April 29th.
You said April 30th, midnight, yes. April 30th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably 1 a.m. on April 30th is what I was thinking. But it didn't come out that way. So they all need to come down. There's no political broadcast or advertising on election day. So that includes social media. When we did our candidate and agent briefing, we did show them that their paid ads have a stop time on it. So on most platforms, there's a few of the social media platforms that your dollar spend has to run out before it stops. But the other ones can be stopped on a particular day. So stop those on the 29th. And then on polling day, our polls open at 7 a.m. in the morning, and they close at 6 p.m. in the evening. We have some new polling locations to talk about. Georgetown South, we're shifting from, and I'm dating myself here, what used to be the middle school, George Hicks High later on.
Okay, I'm dated as well.
Hall to the new John Gray High School Hall, which is directly across from the main entrance to Truman Bodden on Olympic Way. It's a larger hall and better space, so we're going in there. If people show up at the old location, that's actually okay, because we will use that for parking, and they can access the polling station at the John Gray gym through the fence that separates the two schools. I think that's where SciFec is now, the old site. So it's not there. It's at the new John Gray Hall. West Bay North, we're moving from Finch Drive to the New Testament Church on Boson Bay Road. We will be, parking is tight in that area, so we will be actually busing individuals back and forth from the Turtle Center parking lot during the polling hours. I mean, there's also parking nearby. And I'll quickly hasten to say, if you're a person with disabilities, so you have your blue placard, if you have your sunflower lanyard, if you're pregnant, elderly, have difficulty walking, you can drive right up to the polling locations and someone will assist you, and they'll actually take persons that are disabled or have special needs to the front of the line. So pregnant ladies,
we
older
go back
persons.
to COVID rules for,
Yeah.
for this
They get a bit of special treatment.
I would also encourage mobile voting as well for those.
Mobile voting is always
Yes.
there for that, absolutely.
Yes. Sorry, just to say the West Bay New Testament Church of God address is 28A Bosun Bay Road.
Yeah.
In West Bay.
And some very
I'm sure the West Bayers know that.
Yeah,
but
they actually do. And some very sharp-minded West Bay voters will actually argue and say, well, that church is actually in West Bay Central, not in West Bay North. And we know that, like, literally one side of the road is West Bay North, the other side of the road is West Bay West. But there are no other suitable buildings in West Bay North. So there's a provision in the law that we can have a polling station just outside of the geographical area, and we're taking advantage of that for this particular election. And then Bordentown East, we're shifting from the classrooms to their new multipurpose hall. So all the voting will take place there.
At the primary school.
At the primary school. So same location, just slightly different rooms, so people that know where to go.
So it would have been the Theoline McCoy primary school.
Yeah.
But it's now being shifted to the Francine Gardner Hall.
At the Theoline.
So the primary school used to be, and still is, on the right, and I believe the new hall is on the left.
Yeah, facing the school. Yes.
When you're going into the grounds.
Yeah, Anton Baden Road. Yes. So keeping it all straight, we will be doing some mailbox inserts with polling locations, polling times, do's and don'ts in relation to casting your vote. So those should be going out this week. The printers are finishing them up, and we're using our trusted colleagues at the postal services to insert those in all mailboxes in all 3 islands for us. And transitioning then to...
Wait, can we transition to the phone call?
Oh yeah, phone call. Okay.
Yeah, you gave me a good little segue right there. So let's take the caller right now. Thank you for calling Radio Cayman's The Buzz. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
Good. Just have a couple of half crazy questions, silly questions.
No problem. Go for it.
You're speaking about disability and so forth. As far as I can remember, I think 4 years ago up at the Newlands, the ICCI, I was there and I had knee surgery and so forth, and I can't recall anyone assisting me with a seat until it was my turn to go in. It's like I think I had my cane with me, and you were just treated as one that was... you would look at and say, well, they look a lot healthier than you, but here you are standing with a knee replacement and trying to, not to look so obvious in the crowd, but they're in pain. I need to sit until it's your turn, which was a lot of people. It was early, and I made up my mind I'll never go early again. So I was just wondering, if at the polling places, will there be any tents around there or chairs that if the line is extremely long that you can sit and join the line when it's your turn? Or I don't know. I probably sound crazy, but I just have to ask it because I have a problem.
No, ma'am, not at all. I would actually encourage you to sign up for mobile voting because we can then come to you, or you can come out and vote. Same at ICCI just the week before, and much shorter lines and no wait time. But we are reinforcing with our teams this time around that they need to keep an eye out for individuals who might need some extra assistance, disabled persons, and allow them to go to the front of the line. We're also having wheelchairs at each location that are available for use there. But I would strongly recommend that you utilize our mobile voting service. That's much.
Well,
sorry. If I might add, caller, you indicated that you were trying to not look so disabled. So my question would be, did you speak to any one of the staff and indicate that, you needed this sort of assistance? Works both ways. you might have done such a great job at projecting a positive image that it didn't resonate with the staff that you needed that help. So I would say thank you for that example. It's not crazy, it's great, but at the same time I would say to anyone who finds themselves in a similar situation going forward, if they haven't registered for mobile, as Mr. Howell has just advocated, that they communicate their needs with the staff on the grounds, because we don't have a crystal ball. So just communicate what the issue is and request that you be extended the courtesies to go to the front of the line, and the staff will assist.
I cannot recall and remember if anyone tried to assist me. It's 4 years ago, so I can't remember. But I heard you guys talking for some time now, and I say, you know what, I'm going to give you all a call to find out really where I stand in this category. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
So more than ever now, I need some assistance in some sort of form. I don't know. We can vote a different way of me coming to the grounds at the ICCI, or you know what I mean?
Yeah,
You don't
absolutely.
have all the answers.
Yeah,
You don't have all the answers.
so if you request mobile voting before Thursday, we'll either come to you, or you can choose to come to the ICCI grounds. We'll set up. We'll use some of the classrooms there, and we'll actually have voting on what day again, Sheena?
Ooh, sorry, let me go to that page.
And you can cast your vote with much less people there, and no issues at all.
Newlands would be the 22nd of April.
On Tuesday, the 22nd of April. Yeah.
You all come to me then.
Yes, ma'am. But you have to apply. Yeah, so you can apply online, or if you have somebody can assist you with the paper, and then we'll come to you.
Well, let's put it this way. I don't have a computer.
Yeah.
And I can't say right now I have anyone that can assist me. Being really honest and true with you, because everything now is online and everybody's so busy trying to help other people.
Yeah.
And trying to do their regular jobs and trying to do their own business and so forth. So we'll just see how it goes.
Okay.
We'll just see how it goes.
If you can get a ride to our office, we're happy to do it there. Somebody might actually recognize your voice and might offer to help you as well. So it just can't be a candidate or agent that's helping you with those forms.
Mm-hmm. All right.
All right.
Or via cell phone, you can.
She doesn't have it.
Hello,
Oh, okay,
hello,
okay, gotcha.
Hello.
Hello?
I am not that savvy now. Okay, come on, I can
No
call
problem.
Radio. If I can't call nowhere else, I can call Radio Cayman in the hospital.
I got you.
Understood.
No problem.
Understood.
Thank you. You all have a great one.
You too. Thank you for your call.
No more call.
No more call. Yeah, that was it.
We segue back into. So there's a provision in the legislation that says that within the 300 feet of the polling stations, voters are not to be harassed or intimidated. We did have some complaints about candidates effectively camping out at the what we call the field officer's tent, which is the first place you arrive when you're getting into the polling station, and everybody going through had to walk through them, and they were shaking hands, and some people really felt offended about that. So that provision exists in the legislation. It will be enforced, so there'll be no line of candidates shaking hands. We'll actually ask them to move along. They're allowed to enter the polling stations. They're allowed to be sat at the agent's booth, at the agent's table in the polling stations. They can go and deliver food for their agents, but they're limited to 15 minutes handover period during that time. But no camping out in the 300 foot. You can do it outside of, but not within. So again, we were asking for that, for the voters to be able to cast their votes without being pressured or feeling offended or harassed. And then there was a question about counting. So in all electoral districts except for Cayman Brac East and Cayman Brac West and Little Cayman, the count will happen at the same location that the ballots are cast. It is a combined count because it's a combined ballot. So our tally sheets include numbers for each of the candidates, And then it also includes yes and no totals for each of the referendum questions. Because it's going to take a bit longer to go through, we're not just calling one name on a ballot, we're actually calling one name plus the three questions, yes or no for each.
So 4 results.
4 results will be tallied that particular evening. We've added additional deputy returning officers, so most electoral districts will have a dual count going on. And we did our training session last night, and I was actually running my stopwatch while people were calling out the ballots and taking about sort of 9 to 15 seconds per ballot to call out the names with enough slowly enough that people can actually make their mark on their tally sheet. So each box should take about an hour and a half. So I'm still thinking that will be done near midnight, maybe slightly after midnight, depending on how quickly we can get through and how many postal ballots that need to be processed before. So the results.
That's for Grand Cayman.
Yeah, all Little Cayman and Cayman Brac, they're usually done long before midnight.
Okay.
Because they have lower numbers to count.
Historically, East End as well, but East End now has 5 candidates running, so it may take a little longer.
They've grown quite significantly in their voter registration numbers over the last sort of 8 years. Northside as well, they're now over 1,000 registered voters in Northside. So the counts that will come out on the night of is as soon as the box is counted and agreed upon, those numbers are called into the command center. They will go up on our website in a tabular form and also in a graphical form. So we'll have those rolling counts. So although the referendum is a national count, it's being counted in each electoral district, and the numbers are then just added together at command center for the final result.
Okay.
And we hope to have all that done sort of near midnight or hopefully before.
Okay. I guess I got slightly confused because it's in the morning that you're receiving the boxes from Little Cayman and
so they'll count and give their totals in. So at the following morning, we're just securing all the materials that are used in the election. We have to store those securely for a year afterwards before we can destroy those. So that's that process of sort of our logistical cleanup afterwards.
Okay. We have a question that did come in via WhatsApp. It says, good morning. In the past, referendum was run as a separate election with a separate ballot and box. As of this time, many people are voting for the referendum issues only and not the candidates. If someone votes for the referendum in the morning, then decides they wish to vote for a candidate in the evening, will they be permitted to vote again?
Absolutely not. So it's one ballot paper with both on it. So it's one shot at it.
Yeah, one ballot paper.
Yeah.
Once they leave the polling station and they've handed in that ballot to the presiding officer, that's it. They do not get a do-over.
Yeah. That was an interesting question, actually.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I can say, we've had...
You can't go back and change your vote?
No.
You can't do anything like this.
We've had literally sort of hundreds of people voting in person at our office, coming in and picking up their ballot, and we haven't had any issues with folks. Some have, taken their ballot away in their ballot envelope and say, I'm not quite sure what I haven't made up my mind yet, and then you'll see them come back in a week or two later and drop off their postal ballot envelope all sealed up and ready to go for the returning officer. But it's one shot at it. You only get one ballot paper, so you make your marks, and that's that.
And this might, I don't know, to me, I'd figure you guys would have some list of voters who are coming and you check them off. Mm-hmm. Okay, you're a voter, you're a registered voter, you're in the right constituency. Mm-hmm. This is where you're supposed to go. That's how you can tell if somebody's coming to vote, right?
Yeah, so you're only allocated to vote in one particular polling station, and you'll only appear on that broken list in that particular polling station. So, and if you're voted by postal ballot, we'll mark you off the list. If you're voted by mobile voting, we'll mark you off the list. So you only get one bite at the cherry. There's no do-over. There's no second ballot.
If a voter has died since the 1st of April, they're also marked off the ballot. So nobody's
marked off the list.
Sorry, thank you. Marked off the list. So nobody can get in to vote by impersonating someone who recently passed away.
Insane that.
Yeah.
Do the voters also have to bring their form of ID?
Absolutely.
Like is some not allowed and some you say, okay, you have to have this?
Yeah. So voter ID card, which you can pick up now because the list is official. Since April 1st, driver's license, passport, national ID card. Some people actually have the new national ID card. Those are allowed. Government ID, those are all permitted forms of identification.
Is it one, or do you require at least two pieces?
No, just one. Just one.
Okay.
Yeah.
One,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, all right.
And there are different provisions. I don't want to get into it technically, but we know we have a small number of persons who don't have an ID, and we're prepared to deal with that. But the majority of voters will have some form of ID that they should bring with them.
And I recommend people that come in and get their voter ID card. It's free. There's no expiration date on it, and it's an official accepted form of identification for most things except for KYC at the banks because it doesn't have an expiration date. So
okay, I gotcha. But then with the voter ID card, list where they live, like what constituency they live in?
It has your constituency on it. It has your physical address on there as well, and your full name and your photo. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you change that, you'd have to change your voter ID card.
Exactly.
So that's an important point there too.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
So maybe this should be expirations. It's every 4 years or so.
So as Mr. McLean would say, we follow the law, and the law has the design for the card, and it has no expiration date on there. So that's something that we will hopefully change when we get some amendments in there.
Okay. All right. Because he's probably going to listen and be like, yes, I agree with your comment here. Okay.
But expire the year before the general election, because the work involved is tremendous.
A lot.
And if I may just go back to the comment that said in the past, the referendum was handled separately.
Yes.
One of the beautiful things about the design of the ballot this year and how it's being handled is that imagine if we had to set up a polling station for candidates and then a separate station for the referendum. That doubles all of our logistics. It doubles the number of agents that the candidates will need. It doubles the number of volunteers that we will need. And it has a physical impact on finding spaces in Cayman that could accommodate all of those activities. So this really is a consolidation, and it's a smart move. I'm going to stick with that and support it.
It's also double the voter time, right?
Yes.
There's that as well to consider.
Yes.
I got a question, because when we said that candidates have to be not within, was it 400 feet?
300 feet. Yeah.
300 feet? What about media?
Yeah.
Because I feel like we need to be allowed a little bit closer.
Not on election day. So you have the media has that same 300-foot standoff again, and that's our sort of sterile area for the voters. So yeah, the media are going to have to talk to folks after they get out of that particular area.
After they get out.
After they get out.
So not once they're going in.
Well, you could, but most people tend to be on a mission when they're going to go do what they got to do.
That's true. That's true.
And I would say not advisable for media or candidates or agents, because you might it might be taken as pressuring or intimidating a voter before they've actually gone in and voted. When they've come out, it's a totally different thing.
And then how do you as media balance it? Because we're not allowed to do any, I guess, campaigning, right?
Yeah.
So, and yeah, a media person's not campaigning, but if they're saying, what are the most critical issues to you, and how do you hope to, who you're voting for, do you think is going to solve it?
Yeah.
In your minds, is that considered somewhat campaigning or looking towards favoritism towards a candidate?
So no, we've always had election day commentary on voter turnout numbers and some historical bits in relation to that. So there's always lots of conversations going on, and now with the referendum questions on, there may be some commentary on that, but what's clear is that it should be, you should vote X or vote Y or vote for this one or not that one. On election day, that is not permitted in the law.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now we know that there's a couple of other very strict rules that are happening. No alcohol and
so we've
any other violations. So we got about 2 minutes if you want to let people know what not to do, how to behave.
No cell phones allowed. I'll let Mr. Howell deal with the alcohol bit. No cell phones allowed in the polling station. So we're recommending that voter just leave it in your car when you go in. Just take your ID. And a pen if you want. Right. We'll have pencils there.
Okay.
And the law is quite clear about who can be present inside the polling booth as well. So children are not actually allowed in the law. So I know some people want to take their young folks with them, but unfortunately that's not permitted in the law. And we've gotten some questions from licensed liquor establishments, and the elections law prohibits the selling of and giving away of, so you can't even give it away free if you're a licensed liquor establishment, alcohol between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. on election and referendum day. So, that is, and, God rest his soul, when Captain Hamilton was alive, he would bend my ear like every election we had, because it also means that duty-free establishments can't. So if you have cruise ships in, airport can't sell. Everything's shut down for those sort of 12 hours between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. So I didn't make up the law. I just say what it is.
I understand. I wasn't blaming you.
We
look a little guilty there, Wes.
We didn't make it up, but we follow the law to the T.
Is there any other comments you want to leave with our guest? Well, I'm not going to have you on before the show, so I hope to have you on after.
Come out and vote, and make your vote count. It's an opportunity to give your opinion. Yeah.
Right.
And guidance over the next 4 years.
Yes. And we need it.
Yes.
We definitely need it. Elections.ky is a reminder to everybody who is thinking of doing a postal vote or needs to do mobile voting. And again, that deadline is Thursday, but preferably we'd like you to sign up as soon as you can, today or tomorrow.
Or any other information, election or referendum information that they need is on there. We're limited with the referendum question information, but from the elections office website, you're directed to the government's referendum site that has a lot more information. But check out our website where you can.
You guys have great information there, especially that countdown, 14 days. How many hours are we at now?
And we know some people, like the caller, are not that savvy, but we'll work around it. If you've got a question, if you're that kind of person and you've got a question, call the office. Staff are happy to provide such answers.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much for joining me this morning on
thank
The Buzz.
you.
And
Our pleasure.
for letting our listeners know what to expect on Election Day and leading up to it.
I'm finally awake.
Yes, you and I both. You and I both. Thanks for everybody who sent in their comments and questions, and for our listening audience as well for hanging out with us on this beautiful Tuesday. Don't forget, we have our final debate in the BRAC tomorrow. It's going to be a hot one. So you want to be tuned in to Radio Cayman from 7:30 p.m. I mean, you want to just stay tuned into Radio Cayman, but it's going to be our final debate in the BRAC, and there's going to be no interviews, okay, guys? And there's also going to be For the Record in the BRAC tomorrow morning, and there's going to be The Buzz in the BRAC on Thursday morning. So, we're giving some Sister Island love this week as well, all right? And have a great Tuesday.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
The Economics and Statistics Office is currently conducting the annual business surveys until June 13th. The surveys collect information to answer questions like, how did the economy perform in 2024? In 2024, how much did foreign companies invest in the Cayman Islands? The surveys include all relevant entities that produce goods and services in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the ESO. Remember, better data, better decisions, better business. For assistance in filling out the forms, or for more information, visit eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4600. The Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the